The Dow Jones climbs 194.17 points, or 0.6%, to end at 32,033.28 for its fifth day of wins. Shares of Caterpillar, McDonald's and Honeywell led the 30-stock index higher. The U.S. economy grew at a 2.6% annualized pace in the third quarter, compared to expectations for 2.3% growth. The S&P 500 fell below 400 for the first time since September as a rout in Meta weighed on the tech sector. Before we continue, if you enjoyed watching the video, please share your thoughts by clicking the like button and writing them in the comments section below. If you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, you will be among the first people to find out when new videos are published on the channel. So let's just get started. Apple reported fiscal fourth quarter earnings on Thursday that beat Wall Street expectations. However, Apple came up short versus revenue expectations in core product categories including the company's iPhone business and services. Total sales in Apple's fiscal 2022 were up 8% to $394.3 billion. Apple CEO Tim Cook said the company's iPhone sales clearly countered industry trends. Apple's services business reported just under 5% growth during the quarter, a significant slowdown for the investor favorite and profitable business line. For the fiscal year, Apple services grew just over 14% to $78.13 billion, a slower rate of growth than 2021's 16% annual increase. Apple's Mac sales were up over 25% to $11.51 billion, beating expectations. Apple's other products category, which includes Apple Watch and AirPods, also saw an annual increase. The company recently released new models in October, which could boost sales just after the September quarter. Amazon shares fell as much as 19% in extended trading after the company posted weaker than expected earnings and revenue for the third quarter. The company gave a disappointing fourth quarter sales forecast. Analysts were expecting sales to come in at $155.15 billion, according to Refinitiv estimates. Amazon has responded to rising expenses by aggressively cutting costs across numerous divisions. Amazon's operating income fell by almost half from a year earlier to $2.53 billion from $4.85 billion, as the company cut jobs and investments in its retail business. Ad revenue surged 25% year-over-year to $9.55 billion during the quarter, but still missed estimates. President Xi Jinping said China is willing to work with the United States to find ways to get along to the benefit of both, Chinese state television reported on Thursday, ahead of a possible meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden in Indonesia. The two countries have been at odds over China's policy towards Taiwan, China's relationship with Russia and more recently, U.S. efforts to prevent its semiconductor companies selling technology to Chinese companies. Xi and Biden are expected to attend a G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia, in November, but no information has been officially released on the possibility of a meeting between them. Gross domestic product rose at a 2.6% rate in the third quarter, up from 0.6% after contracting in the second quarter. Domestic demand was the weakest in 2 years because of the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes. Residential investment contracted for a sixth straight quarter as mortgage rates surged. The economy appears poised for a modest downturn in the first half of next year, an analyst says. Growth in consumer spending slowed to a 1.4% rate from the April to June quarter's 2.0% pace. The Labor Department reported on Thursday a modest rise in the number of people filing new claims for unemployment benefits. A measure of inflation in the economy rose at a 4.6% rate, decelerating from a 8.5% pace in the second quarter. The European Central Bank announced Thursday a 75 basis point interest rate hike, its third consecutive increase this year, also scaling back support for European banks. The ECB said it was changing the terms and conditions of its targeted longer-term refinancing operations, or TLTROs. These are a tool that provides European banks with attractive borrowing conditions. The rate hike takes the ECB's main benchmark from 0.75% to 1.5%. It comes as the ECB is dealing with record high inflation and a slowing economy. Many economists predict a recession in the 19-member bloc before the end of the year. Comcast on Thursday reported third-quarter earnings that beat analyst estimates. The company added 14,000 broadband customers during the quarter, an improvement from the second quarter. Still, it's a sign that cable broadband providers are facing increased competition. Comcast lost 561,000 pay TV customers, a continued quarterly decline that the company and its peers have seen. Revenue for the Universal unit dropped about 4% to $9.6 billion when compared with the same quarter last year. Media segment's revenue declined roughly 23% due to the absence of the Olympics. Advertising revenue for the segment was down 35% for the same reason. The company said that was partially offset by an increase in ad revenue from Peacock. Comcast's theme park business saw revenue rise more than 40% to $2.1 billion, but the company still expects Peacock to record losses this year. Comcast's total customer count increased by 320,000 to 23 million, boosted by streaming customer additions. The company took an $8.6 billion write-down on its Sky business as a result of the Ukraine war and inflation in Europe. McDonald's said traffic to its U.S. restaurants is growing, bucking a trend seen by other chains after raising menu prices. But inflationary pressures and interest rate hikes are putting significant pressure on consumers, execs said. The company reported third-quarter net income of $1.98 billion, down from $2.15 billion a year earlier. Net sales fell 5% to $5.87 billion, but excluding foreign currency, revenue rose 2%. Worldwide, same-store sales climbed 9.5%, beating street estimates of 5.8%. All three of McDonald's divisions topped Wall Street's expectations for same-store sales growth. The company credited price hikes and an increase in customer visits. In the third quarter, U.S. menu prices were up roughly 10% compared with the year-ago period. Executives said that all dayparts are performing well, although breakfast and dinner are better. Credit Suisse shares plunged more than 14% on Thursday after the Swiss bank posted a quarterly loss that was significantly worse than analyst estimates. The embattled lender posted a third-quarter net loss of 4.034 billion Swiss francs, $4.09 billion, compared to analyst expectations for a loss of 567.93 million Swiss francs. New CEO Ulrich Körner said it represented the beginning of a transformation into a new Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse Chief Executive Tidjane Körner says the bank has all the necessary ingredients to go where it wants to. The Swiss bank posted a third-quarter net loss of 1.593 billion Swiss francs, missing analysts' expectations. It was hit by sluggish investment banking revenues and losses from the withdrawal of its Russia business. The euro fell back below parity with the dollar on Thursday after the European Central Bank raised interest rates. The ECB raised its deposit rate by 75 basis points to 1.5%, the highest since 2009. The euro had hit a one-month high of $1.0094 versus the dollar earlier in the day. U.S. gross domestic product rose at a 2.6% annualized rate last quarter, the government's advanced GDP estimate showed on Thursday. There were concerns that the data overstates the economy's health as the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate increases curbed consumer spending. The greenback had slid in recent days as investors have cheered signs that the U.S. Federal Reserve is considering slowing down its aggressive rate hikes. Oil rose on Thursday, extending a rally of nearly 3% in the previous session, as optimism over record U.S. crude exports and signs that recession fears are abating outweighed concern over slack demand in China. Global investors dumped Chinese assets early this week on fears about growth, with the economy beset by a zero-COVID policy, a property crisis and falling market confidence. Weakness earlier in the session in the US dollar, which touched a one-month low, lent oil support, although the US currency later rallied. USD crude has slumped on economic concerns after surging earlier this year after Russia invaded Ukraine, with Brent coming close to its all-time high of $147 in March.